We are now live. Happy Spiritual Sunday. Boca Raton, Florida. I have something that I found from this book, Karen's book, Simple Light. And as we often talk about, the light of the Creator is very simple. It's we who mess everything up, which we'll talk about a little more today. But she says like this: when we speak about stress and anxiety, we should know that the basic cause for all illness, and I mean all illness, does not come from the body, but from the motivations of mind. How many of you believe that a doctor heals? The doctor doesn't heal. He or she is just a tool, a channel for something higher. The body heals itself. Let's say, for example, a person fractures a bone and they go to an orthopedist. What does the orthopedist do? He takes the bone, sets it into a framework where it was before, and then leaves the body to mend itself. In other words, it's not the orthopedist who mends the bone, but rather the body itself. By the same token, we also need to understand that our brain is what causes and motivates all the illness of our body. Okay. We have our affirmation, and as Karen just reminded us, our consciousness is everything. It decides how we act because our consciousness is how we see the world. How we see the world is determining how we're going to behave. If you see a situation as, which we'll get, of course, we always get into it, same thing. When you get into a situation, if you think it's challenging, if you think it's an obstacle, then that's what it'll be. If you think it's just an opportunity to strengthen your spiritual muscle, then that's what it'll be. If you see a person on the street and you already judge them externally, then you're going to make your decision what you think they are and what kind of interaction you may or may not have with them. But like all of us, in fact, sort of get into it in a minute, we have to learn to see through the external, because the external is the added influence, to add on to Karen, it's the added influence of what keeps our mind either the same or different. So we have our affirmation that we say every Sunday that will help sort of retool, reframe, and remodel our consciousness. And so some people will say, well, but you say the same thing every Sunday, and many of you say it often during the week. Okay, but like I've been taught 30 some odd years from my teachers, the Rav and Karen, says that opponent in our head that we planted to challenge us, but not challenge us to knock us down, challenge us to be stronger, challenge us to live into our potential. The Creator gave us 100%. Our job is to reveal 100% and have that 100% peace, harmony, joy, and happiness. But it's up to us. It's up to us. So the challenger is there on this side of our brain. It sounds like us, imitates us, but it's not us. It's a challenger, like in a video game. If you're playing a video game, you're watching a screen. And on that screen are your friends that are your teammates, and then there's also the people or whatever, the figures that are your opponent on the same screen. But you break through, let's say, the literalness, the 5 sense aspect of the screen. You don't say, well, we must be all on the same team. No, you know that person is your opponent, and this figure is your teammate. So in the same way, we put on one side of our brain, and I don't mean physically, it's just metaphorically. On the left side is the opponent, that false voice of ego, selfishness, illusion. And on the right side is the voice of our soul. So this is where the real battle is. So the Reverend Karen used to say, that voice is programmed to tell us lies 1,000 times until we believe them. And we all believe the lie in some way or another, about ourselves, about the world, about other people and things. So if we tell ourselves the same thing over and over and over, the Rav would say, if you tell yourself the truth 1,001 times, you will believe the truth. The issue is, it's not just, once we start telling ourselves the truth, that the voice of the opponent shuts up. So we'll tell ourselves 1 or 2 or 3 truths to try and catch up to the 1,000, but meanwhile the opponent's throwing in either the same ones or similar ones again and again. So it's not just as simple as doing 1,001 affirmations. We have to do, in this case on Sunday we do this affirmation, but you have to live with it during the week. You have to keep reminding yourself more and more and more, Because during the week, when you're not here on Spiritual Sunday or you're not taking classes in the center, that voice is still talking to you. Unless, and even then, I was going to say, unless you sit all alone, like in solitary confinement, speaking to no one, contacting no one, people could think, well, this is a way the voice can't get to them. No, if the voice is in our own head, a person could be in solitary confinement and still hear all the lies. If they choose, like we're learning to do, to listen to the voice of truth, the voice of our soul, then that's what they'll hear. But it's not a question of the outside world. It's a question of what's going on in here. So for those of you online, here we have it. For those of you who are here, we'll say it together as one soul, one unity of humanity. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, kindness towards all human beings. And that obviously is ultimately probably the most difficult thing towards everybody. Because there's inherently, well, not inherently, we have allowed ourselves to believe or feel certain blockages towards people. And I would not deny, so don't go there, that they said something nasty, they did something nasty, etc. But our response determines our destiny. Their action, their words do not determine our destiny. We determine our destiny. And so we're learning here how to exercise our free will. But let's start with it. Unfortunately, we have great challenge to believe we have free will. And let's start like this. So if you read the Bible literally, the 5 books of Moses, you read things that say, God has arms, God has a face, God is jealous, and ultimately, God will reward the good and punish the bad. Listen to what God says, all the rewards of the world. Don't listen to what God says, all the punishment of the world. So how many of you ever heard of one of the 10 commandments, as they're called, or we call them the 10 utterances? How many of you ever heard of the one that says, thou shalt not steal? Ever heard that? Thou shalt not steal. So then if you're not supposed to steal, thank you. If you're not supposed to steal because it's a bad thing to do, then the literal Bible, as you can find in those various places, right? Stealing is bad. So that person should have bad stuff happen to them. No? Okay. Should, if you believe the Bible literally. But how many of us ask that question? How is it that bad things happen to good people who do good things and good things happen to bad people? So now we're already contradicting what seems to be what the Bible's teaching us. Good is rewarded and bad is punished. So then that's all we should see in the world. How many of you and I, if you're sitting here or you're watching us, you have to be a good person. You have to be one of the amazing good people, which I truly believe in that way, good, has to be 90% of the world. The ones that are really bad have to be less than 10%. Yeah, they may get more attention, but that doesn't mean they're the majority. But you and I are good people. We all have our issues, no? We have a little difficulty. We have some challenges. We have obstacles, whatever. We have confusion. Well, why wouldn't we be confused if you're looking at the Bible literally? The good get good and the bad get bad. And then we see the opposite. So it's a little confusing, no? And from that confusion, what do we tend to do? Like we started out with, we'll see those confusing things 1,000 times because that's what that voice puts in our head. So we'll look around and say, oh yeah, look at this bad guy got bad or got good. This good person got bad. And all we'll see are those examples. We won't see the good people getting good and the bad people getting bad because that's what the voice will lead us. So we get confused. So the Zohar, which we know, show you my handy pocket Zohar. So the Zohar teaches us, no, the blueprint of the universe is what the Zohar is. It's before anything we would call religion, I don't know, ritual, dogma, theology, theosophy, any of that. It is literally just a blueprint of the universe. And therefore it teaches us the immutable, unchangeable, metaphysical laws of the universe. That's all it is. It's like the instruction manual to the universe. And just for those of you who are newer or new, if you think about what science is trying to do, from the beginning of history, what is science trying to do? Figure out the universe, right? Figure out how the world works. For what purpose? Ideally, to give us technology or things that will make our lives easier, better, more fulfilling. So if you just extract, if you continue the trajectory of science, finding out all the different things they found out, at the end of all that exploration, discovery, experimentation, what will they have at the end? The blueprint of the universe. That's essentially what they're looking for. So if we're already acknowledging there is a blueprint or must be a blueprint, why can't the Zohar be the blueprint? And as we often talk about, and I don't want to get into it because I have plenty of other things to talk about, all of science that we think is scientific discovery was already written in the Zohar thousands of years ago. And that's why I go to one of the most famous examples is Sir Isaac Newton. All of Newtonian physics, according to Isaac Newton himself, came from the Zohar that he had a copy of, and if you want to go to Trinity College in England, you can go see it. You can go see it itself. Okay, so if the Zohar is the spiritual laws of the universe, the metaphysical world, where does the physical world come? It's patterned on that. Just like a clothing manufacturer. They make a pattern, one pattern, and then they go in the factory and they make hundreds or thousands or millions of suits, dresses, shirts, whatever it is, based on that pattern. So then the spiritual laws of the universe are the pattern for the physical world. And this is why the Kabbalists teach us there's something called the language of the branches. Meaning you and I are here in the physical world, and this is the first thing we see. This is the first thing we learn about. And then hopefully as we grow up, we're learning more about spirituality, the metaphysical world, etc. But we see the physical world. So the Kabbalists, as they were developing how to bring this system to us, came up with this idea. Well, let's call it the language of the branches, meaning it's something we can relate to. You can relate to the chairs you're sitting on. You can relate to the table. And as I'll often say, as long as we're talking Isaac Newton, you see these tables here? I know you online, I'm sorry you can't see the table, but just imagine a table with a tablecloth, right? Does anyone here see the table? Do you actually see the table? No, you see the tablecloth. So if I come over there like a magician, I go whoosh, and I pull the tablecloth off, and now the table is visible to you. Do you say Chaim just created the table? Chaim invented the table. Do you say that or not? No, you say Chaim uncovered the table. Chaim tableclothed, which is just another way of saying of discovered the table. But the table was always there. So there's never been a scientific invention. There's been a scientific discovering, but sadly, like we often talk about, the Big Bang that Kabbalistically began 15 billion years ago, or 14 point something, at that point, 14.5 billion years ago, a cell phone was readily, let's call it accessible. But science hadn't uncovered enough of the laws that were already set in motion to actually physically make this cell phone. So then the same thing, are you sitting here saying, I'd like to have 50% happiness and joy and 50% chaos? Except for one person in the room. How about the rest of you? Right? Nobody yes, how did you identify yourself there? Right? Do you want 60, okay. So he's going to go 60-40. How many of you wouldn't want to really settle if you were capable? 100%. You wouldn't want to settle for 100%. You wouldn't want to go for 100%. So the Kabbalist teaches we have 100%. So all we have to do is live into that 100%, make it manifest. Like the pattern of the clothing, The people who are constructing the clothing have to follow the pattern. You follow the pattern, you get what the pattern shows. You don't follow the pattern, you're going to get something that, I don't know, in this day and age, maybe another hot sale somewhere or some hot style, but it's not going to be the one that the pattern is based on. So in the simplest terms, if the blueprint of the universe is 100% pure, and it gives us the understanding how to have 100% fulfillment, 100% eternal fulfillment, then a person who doesn't have that, which is you and me to some extent, and the rest of the world, certainly many people to a much greater extent, they're not following the pattern. You follow the pattern, you get what the pattern gives you. You don't follow the pattern, you don't get. It's not a complicated idea. It's simple. So what the Kabbalists teach us when it comes to the Bible is also very simple. Look around the room. Do we all look alike? Boy, you're really being crazy today. Okay, thank you. Right? We don't look alike. But does that mean any of us are better or worse or good or bad just inherently because we don't look alike? No. We all must be good people because we're sitting here now. So if you look past the outside, you're going to reach in and you're going to see the good qualities we are already expressing as you get to know each other a little bit more. But if you look deep in the heart and soul of every human being, the only thing you're going to see is the light of the Creator. Because every human being is filled with the light of the Creator. Since we all come from one Creator, and as the Kabbalists teach us, the energy that comes from that Creator is called the light. And light is just pure fulfillment, illumination, like the physical lights. Here's an example language of the branches. If you walk in a dark room, how do you get rid of the darkness? You fight it? You scream at it? Do you tell it how powerful you are? Tell it how much money you've got? How much political power you've got? How you're the head of your homeowners association? What? No, you simply go to the wall, you turn on the light, you turn on the lamp. The light takes away the darkness. That's language of the branches. So we'll know that the infinite light of the Creator, as we let it out from our heart and soul to be expressed on a higher level out in the world, will take away our darkness, our chaos, our confusion, and any form that darkness and confusion existing in right now. Whether it's a health issue, a business issue, a relationship, no peace of mind, stress, anxiety, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a form of darkness. And all darkness, essentially, like Karen was telling us, all darkness disappears in the face of light. But don't expect the Creator to shine light for you. Because the Creator never stops shining light. It shines 24/7. It's an issue how much we have covered ourselves up in spiritual mud of anger, fear, jealousy, greed, insecurity, lack, poverty, guilt, shame, all that stuff. We cover our own spiritual eyes. We don't see the light. And that's why we're in confusion. Not that the light doesn't exist. It's 100%. So go back to what the Zohar is. The Zohar tells us you cannot understand the 5 books of Moses on its literal level. God does not have arms and legs and a face, and God does not reward or punish. Okay. You put your finger in the electric socket. Is it God's punishment or is it, your foolishness? There's laws of the universe. There's laws of electricity, right? Connect to it in the wrong way, shocking. Shocking in many ways, right? Connect to it the right way, the computer works, your cell phone works, the lamp works, the vacuum cleaner works, all those things. It's not up to God, it's up to us. If you want to talk in those metaphorical terms, the Creator gave us electricity in that way. Now it's up to us to decide, use it constructively, destructively. Use it to our benefit or not. That's our free will. So the Zohar says very simply, you cannot take the Bible only on its literal level, which is probably why most people, like the Rav and Karen used to say, it's the best-selling book, or maybe it used to be, best-selling book in history, the Bible. Sits on a lot of shelves around the world. But that's all it does, is sit on the shelf, because you can't understand it literally. You cannot. You can understand parts of it maybe, But you can't understand the whole thing. I can talk to you till tomorrow on the contradictions if you read it on the literal level. So the Zohar puts it like this. The 5 books of Moses are like the body. Like we said, you look around the room, you look out in the world, there's a lot of different physical things out there, like the body. But everything and everyone has the light of the Creator inside of it. That's what the Zohar is. It's the soul of the Bible, to give us, like we said, the spiritual metaphysical understanding, so that we can live it today. So that even though the 5 books is, let's say, 3,400 years old, and it doesn't mention a car, an airplane, things like that, doesn't mean that they didn't understand the laws behind cars, airplanes, computers, etc. All of quantum physics was written in the Zohar 2,000 years ago. Took science, meanwhile, 2,000 years even to come up with the name quantum physics, no less to make something of it. So you and I, what we're learning here is how to jump ahead, take advantage of the metaphysical laws of the universe, pattern our life on it, and we'll end up with happiness, joy, peace, and harmony. Because you look at the world, I don't see other things really showing much capability of that, in all honesty, and not to be disrespectful of it. I mean, we need certain aspects of the physical world to keep people who are not yet connected to the spiritual world, at least, let's say, somewhat, at least cooperative with each other, right? I mean, what would happen if you got rid of all the stop signs and all the traffic lights, etc., and just let everybody drive like they wanted? Be a little chaotic, no? On a soul level, if people could truly listen to their soul, it'd be harmonious. In fact, there'd be no accidents whatsoever. But meanwhile, we don't have all that capability, so they put in the stop signs and they put in the stop lights, etc. And even with that, not everybody has gone without whatever, an accident or ticket or what have you, because they don't see that, they figure they could jump through the light, whatever it may be. They come up with the ways and means. So we're learning how to live by the spiritual laws of the universe. Now, this is where I want to go for today. Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center 100 years ago, probably the greatest Kabbalist in the last 500 years, he taught us something. Actually, we have a book of its name, The Thought of Creation. And if you think about it in fundamental true terms, the thought of the Creator, as the Kabbalists teach us, was just to give 100% fulfillment to all of its creations. That means every human being. There's no human being on earth, and in fact, there's nothing on earth that's not built from the energy of the light of the Creator. Even the tablecloth. What allows the tablecloth to exist? The light of the Creator. Questioning it, ask yourself, if you believe the scientists, although you can't see it with your eyes, but they tell us there's protons, neutrons, and electrons running around in the tablecloth, running around on your clothes, running around on the flesh of your body. What allows an electron to move constantly? It doesn't have its own energy. It's energized by the light of the Creator. So the light of the Creator, the thought of creation, was to just shine its light and give its blessings, all the good stuff, to all of its creations, essentially humanity. That's it. That's the thought of creation. Now, according to the Zohar, and those of you who may have taken classes, the beginning and the end, being in the endless world before the Big Bang, where there was just, let's call it us, one soul, and the Creator, that we didn't create, it exists. No free will. We all started there. How could we have free will if we were created by the Creator? Right? The end of this process that we're in is going to be heaven on earth. Absolute, complete peace, harmony, joy, unity, love, oneness. Not sameness, but oneness. That's fixed and set. No free will. It is predestined, the beginning, the end. Our free will is in the process in between. In fact, those of you who drove here, and just in case for those who are out here watching us, Nobody who's in this room lives here in this building. So everybody came from somewhere. So think in that term. Your home, where you came from, was fixed and set. This building, fixed and set. Your free will is how you drove here. You could have driven the way you went. You could have gone around the block a few times. You could have done other ways. That's your free will. And how you decide to drive will determine what you see along the way. The fact you all ended up here didn't determine what you saw along the way, how you drove. And maybe you're used to driving one way, but for whatever reason today, you took a wrong turn because your mind was somewhere else. You had to go around the block a little bit. So you saw something you don't usually see. Not because God demanded it, not because of any other reason, but you made the choice to not pay attention, make the wrong turn, have to find a way to get back, but the beginning, the end was fixed and set. Your home and being here. So then we have to learn what we teach from Kabbalah 1 forward, actually, embracing the process. That's what our concern is. Because the process is what we live. The process is how we experience life. We experienced and have the spiritual memory of the endless world where it was just pure light. And this is why sometimes when people have what they'll call a near-death experience, they'll tell you, wow, the light was so amazing. It was brilliant white light, but not like physical light was overwhelming. It was just like pure light, and just feel unconditional love. Just feel amazing. That's what's available to us 24/7. But we have to connect with it. And you can't connect with it at the same time you're feeling jealous, angry, fearful, egotistical, what have you. Because opposites repel. Only like attracts like. And so the journey is what's our free will. So Rav Ashlag gives us again the metaphorical understanding that in essence the Creator who created us, because in the spiritual world there's no such thing as time. Time is a construct of humanity here in this world. So if there's no time in the Creator, bless you, there's no time in the Creator's realm, bless you, see it's true, then the beginning, the end already exist from the Creator's point of view. So the Creator doesn't see chaos. When people say, how come God doesn't help us? How come God doesn't this? Or how come God doesn't answer our prayers? Because God doesn't see chaos, metaphorically. Doesn't see chaos. We can only see whatever's going on in our mind. So if you have anger in your mind, you see anger. And again, percentages of, but that's what you'll see. The Creator is just pure love, unconditional love and light, can only see light. So metaphorically, when the Creator looks on the world, only sees 8 billion pure beings of light, and only sees peace and harmony, because the Creator is only connected to the thought of creation, which is to give everybody 100%. And like, even in the simple terms, you read in the Bible, and God said, let there be light. How long did it take for light to show up? Instantly, because there's no time to the Creator. So the Creator thought it showed up. The same way, consciousness is everything. So whatever is held in your consciousness shows in that moment right in front of you. You can change it in a second to something different. But what you're holding in your mind in that second is your personal thought of creation of your world, and that's why you'll see it. I'll never forget when I started taking driving lessons a few years ago, 2 or 3. So they were teaching us, this idea of, I forget how he called it, like relevance, because we were driving cars. So he was telling us, when a new car comes out, a lot of people pay no attention to it. They don't even realize it's around. Now, let's say you're going to XYZ, showroom. You're looking for a certain model car because you saw it on TV, right? And you say, wow, I like that car. I can just see myself driving it now. And then even if you're on your way to the dealer, all of a sudden you'll start to see that car, that model, everywhere you go. Not because they just showed up, but because now it's in your consciousness, you're aware and you're looking for it, so you can now relate. Now you can relate. So if you're in a bad mood, Why do they say when a person's in a bad mood, the whole day, if you don't change your mood, will tend to be a bad mood? You'll make mountains out of molehill. Everything will affect you more. You'll be more impatient, a little more upset, a little more annoyed. Why? Because you woke up in that mood. You already set the pattern of what you're going to look at. So you're going to look and see, with the help of that opponent over there, just all the bad mood stuff. But you wake up in the morning in a good mood, you had a good sleep, a nice dream, you wake up, you're in a good mood, then even the challenges tend to slide off your back a little bit. You don't take them so terribly. You're not so stressed out about them. Why? Because you're already looking for more good. You woke up in a good mood, you'll tend to see more of the good things, even through the challenges. This is why we teach embracing the process. If you embrace the process and start connecting more and more with the thought of creation, that everything is for my good, then you'll start to see how it can be made for your good. How many of you remember, although now it's a few years, how many of you remember the COVID lockdown? So was it bad for everybody? No. And again, I'm not trying to endorse whatever. I want you to understand the idea. For a lot of people, it was bad. They lost their jobs. A lot of people were unfortunately falling into all kinds of bad habits and having terrible things. But I personally know a couple people that made a lot of good out of it. It gave them an opportunity to look at things differently. Yes, they lost their job, but in losing their job, they didn't lose their confidence in the light. They didn't lose their belief in the light. They didn't lose the belief that like suddenly all their talent and ability disappeared. And what did they do? They worked to come up with a new idea, find a new way. And one person in particular created a whole new, what do they call, e-commerce thing, was making 3 or 4 times what he was making in his job before the lockdown. So not everybody takes everything the same way. Goes back to us, our choice. We decide, is it good or bad? So if we can start, and again, for those of you who know, I'm not saying that when a person says something nasty or does something nasty, we're saying that's good. It is nasty, and it's not their soul's desire, but that's how they're behaving for the moment. But what we get from it is how we'll respond to it. So if we're looking and seeing and focusing only on the nasty thing they do, then what is it going to do? It's going to wake up some form of a nasty feeling in us, whether it's fear, anxiety, jealousy, judgment, anger, whatever, resentment. It'll wake up that. If we can start to say, no, the light is infinite, and let me from my side see what I can learn and gain from it, then that's what I'll get. I'll get something that advances me forward on the path of achieving my 100%, instead of being blocked and held back from my 100%. That's the key. So if you remember what we talked, I sort of threw it out last week. And so if you remember, great. Maybe, hopefully you'll get a new way of looking at it. If you didn't hear last week, okay, so it's new. And it may be shocking. So we discussed last week, and if it pushes your buttons, just pause, try and be open-minded, sort of think about it during the week, and see if it, during the week, if you think about it, can make more sense, because it sounds so illogical. But that is the spiritual world very often. Logic is the 5 sense justification, rationalization for the physical world. And again, I'm not saying to just go out and be stupid and walk across, a busy street blindfolded and say, well, that's illogical. Yeah, but that's stupid illogic. We're talking about spiritual. So ask yourself how many times you've been in a situation that your logic, your experience tells you, go to the right. Like, make that choice to the right. But as you're about to approach making that turn to the right, you get that thought. Pops in your head, we call it the intuition, that says, no, go to the left. Go to the left. 99 times out of 100, even though they're exactly contradictory, your logic, experience, rationalization tells you go to the right, and that crazy, illogical intuition says go to the left. 99 times out of 100, which is the one that actually in the long term benefits you? The left, the opposite of the logic. because our five senses can be fooled. Our sixth sense, if it's the real one and we're really listening, can never be fooled, never taken advantage of, never cause disadvantage. So then think about it. Our soul is sitting inside of us. It's still, let's call it, fresh and clean from the upper world, from the world before the Big Bang. It knows the Creator face to face, metaphorically. Remember, it said no face, meaning face to face, like directly. It knows the Creator directly. It knows the 100%. It knows that we're supposed to have 100%. We have 100%. We're supposed to come down here and just reveal it. It knows all that. But unfortunately, every time a person acts with jealousy, fear, anger, guilt, shame, whatever, they put a covering over their soul. So now that light can't shine out and give us the blessing that light is supposed to. So over years and lifetimes, there's a lot of coverings. And in essence, we have all, to some extent, imprisoned our soul. That is the real us. We've imprisoned it in all those layers of negativity. So our soul wants us to have 100% good, wants us to free it, like to turn the light on. If the light's off when you walk in your house at night, in simple terms, what is your, and you'd like to take the darkness away. So in simple terms, actually the Rav would probably say that light switch is actually calling to you, because that's how sometimes the Rav would speak. But that light switch is calling to you. Turn me on and I will be able to take away the darkness for you. Because like we said, only light takes away darkness. We can't in any way, shape, or form other than turning on the light. So our soul is saying, free me from the prison you've put me in so I can give you all the blessings. So since we don't hear enough of that voice of our soul, so our soul has to try another way. And as we explained a little bit last week, our soul will send messages out into the world and basically create a scenario that certain people will come our way, certain situations will come our way to present us a challenge. Whatever the challenge may be. Present us a challenge that it's our opportunity to get the message from our soul. What is this challenge for? And for me, the simplest way to ask what any challenge in your life, what's the message to you that your soul is saying, up from 50 to 60, 60 to 70% of your potential, love, kindness, compassion, like we say in our affirmation, or whatever else, forgiveness, apology, generosity, compassion, whatever it may be. The easiest way to figure out why you're in a challenge is what we say, pause for a moment in the midst of that when your buttons are being pushed and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And once you can identify the feeling, that's what the soul is trying to tell you. If you're feeling sad, then your soul's trying to tell you, stop being sad, take some happiness from inside and just shine it out in the world. Even like they always said, as, I don't know, maybe you also, but as I grew up, they'd always say, Chaim, it takes a lot more muscles to frown than it is to smile, right? Like it's easier to smile than frown. Okay, that kind of thing. Just start taking some light of happiness and shine it out. And all you have to do is think, I'm shining light of happiness out into the world. If you're coming up with jealousy, that's what the challenge is bringing to you, then stop for a moment and shine the light of gratitude and appreciation, at least for your own blessings. If not for whatever you're being jealous of, that they got the new job and they got the relationship, they got the promotion, whatever it is. No, at least start sending that. Because if you send out more gratitude and appreciation, what comes back to you? More gratitude and appreciation. More to be grateful for. More to be appreciative of. Whereas if you send out more jealousy, guess what? There'll suddenly be more things to be jealous about. Because your soul is sending the message. And remember, if it's your soul and you understand your soul loves you, because it is you, basically, the true you, loves you more than anything in this universe, it is never going to send a challenge beyond your capability, because that's not love. I mean, could you imagine a parent trying to demand of whatever first grader to do like college physics? I mean, that's just foolishness. That's not a loving parent or a friend or what have you. So why do you think your soul would allow us to end up in, or write that scenario, we call it, write the script, of something that's overwhelming we could never handle? Would never be. Would never be. So no matter what your five senses make you think, this is overwhelming, can't do this, no such thing. You have the capability, but like so many things in life, you have to buck yourself up. You got to raise your bar. You got to extend more and exert yourself more than you ever have. Uncomfortable sharing is the only way to grow. Like at the gym. If you don't lift or run uncomfortably, and I don't mean painfully, like double or triple, but at least a little bit more than you're used to, you can't grow your muscles. So why is life any different? It's the same. You don't exert your spiritual muscle, they don't grow. You don't exert your physical muscle, it doesn't grow. So challenges are there to give us the ability to exert our spiritual muscle of all the godlike behaviors. Compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, generosity, humility, gratitude, etc. That's it. And once you do that, like when you turn the light on, where's the darkness go? Every once in a while we talk about this. You walk in the dark room and you turn on the light, where's the darkness go? Does it go in the next room? You walk into the living room, the kitchen light you can see is on, the one next to the living room, but the living room light is off. So you turn the light on in the living room, all of a sudden the kitchen goes dark, right? Because the darkness runs into the kitchen. Yes? Is that what happens? So where does the darkness go? If you walk in your living room and there's a lot of heavy smoke, for whatever reason, the little elves were smoking, so it's full of like cigar smoke, and you walk in with a big fan. Yes, now you could blow the smoke into the kitchen. You can blow the smoke into the other rooms. But you can't move darkness from one place to another. This may also be a little shocking for some of you. There's no reality to darkness. Darkness is a construct of our imagination. How do you know? For me, the simple way to understand it is, how do you define darkness without saying the word light? Define darkness without saying light. No such thing. Darkness is the absence of light. But there's no such thing as absence of light. If you believe the Creator is 100% light and shines 24/7, where's the absence? No absence. It's just we're not perceiving it. That's why, if you go out on a hunting trip or if you've been in this military service, they have night vision goggles. Why do you need night vision goggles? Just go with one of those coal miners' flashlights that stick on your head. No, because they don't want other people to see. Well, then how can you see if you haven't shined light? Because the night vision goggles are more sensitive than our physical eyes to the light that exists everywhere 24/7. It's our eyes that don't perceive the light. And so too spiritually. Our eyes don't perceive the solution to every situation. Our eyes don't perceive how to turn the chaos back into order. Our eyes don't see which is the right decision to make. But the eyes of our heart, as it's called in the Zohar, the eyes of our soul, sees exactly, because it sees through all of our illusion of darkness. And it can show us how to put all the chaos back into order. I mean, people do all those different, my mom, may she rest, well, I know she's not resting now. She's back probably 40 some odd years old. But my mom, as my mom in that life, she used to play Scrabble. You know what Scrabble is? You have all the little, the little letter thing? Okay, so you could either say, when you look in the box, oh, a bunch of chaos. I don't know why, this is what I paid my whatever, $10 for? Is a chaotic thing? No, the joy that she had playing with her friends was to take what looked like chaos in the box and make something orderly out of it. And something that was not only orderly, but would win her a lot of points, right? So the same thing, that's how we can embrace our life, and challenges included. That as we will lead with our heart, lead with our soul, lead with the light inside of us, the light will show us how to put all the things back in order. From our point of view, doesn't mean we're going to manipulate the other person. They could stay in their darkness, they could stay in their mud, they could stay in their mean, nasty, rotten situation. We don't have to. We don't have to. We shine light, we're in the light. They stay in the darkness, they don't see the light. They're still in the darkness. So don't say because they're acting mean, I have to act mean. Because they're acting this way, I have to. No. Let's look at the other way. How come when somebody's acting happy and joy and like this, sometimes we don't feel like it? Because we woke up in that bad mood, right? No. How come then we're not saying, well, if they're acting happy, I'll act happy, right? If they're acting kind, I'll act kind. No, we're always looking at the half-empty stuff. They're acting mean, okay, my justification for being mean. They're being generous and kind and forgiving. Oh, no, 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 no. That's them, not me. You understand how we make ourselves crazy? It's not about anything out there. So if we want to have what the Creator gave us, we have to start just following. Simple. The thought of creation. Now, just on the way out to complete today, where did chaos start? Yeah, but why? Again, people who still think that God, the Creator, whatever name you want to give it, is controlling this world. No. As we said already here, the light shines 24/7. That's all the Creator's job is. The rest is up to us. So if you look about, even in its simple literal level, Adam and Eve, who the Kabbalists teach are really all of us, the same way you've got, let's just make it simple, you have all kinds of different organs in your body, but each organ, it's my liver, my kidney, my this, part of my being. So all 8 billion people on the planet were a piece of Adam and Eve. So don't say, oh, that Adam and Eve, look what they did to me. They created chaos for me. No, you and I were part of Adam and Eve making that decision. We chose, even if you want to believe the Bible literally, at least take this part literally. Adam and Eve, tempted by whatever you want to call that thing called the Nachash, they call it the snake, but it wasn't a snake. There's another way you can take it, you could see literal is foolish. Anyway, Adam and Eve with that temptation, you and me, we're looking at the tree of life, 100% eternal bliss, and we're looking at the tree of knowledge, good and evil, not just the tree of knowledge. Remember, it's called the tree of knowledge, good and bad. And which did we choose? Not to stay in good all the time. We chose from the beginnings of humanity to choose good and bad. We chose the chaos. We chose the beginning of death and life and health and illness and ups and downs. We chose it. And as we learn here in the center, all the details, how we can now make the choice of the tree of life, which is what our job is, because we all want, like we said a few minutes ago, we all want 100% bliss. We don't want anything less than 100% because the Creator gave us 100%. So then we have to just keep choosing how to act like the tree of life. Tree of life, tree of life, tree of life. So when your buttons are being pushed, like the proactive formula we call it, when your buttons are being pushed, just pause. Don't just knee-jerk response. Pause and think. Like we said, what am I feeling? Anger. So I want to send compassion and kindness. Again, that doesn't mean you're exempting the other person from cause and effect. Doesn't mean you're saying what they did was okay. They have their cause and effect, you have yours. And if you don't want to be in their mud or any more of your mud, you start just shining light to protect you from darkness of whatever, compassion or kindness. You shine the light, you're protected. And you just moved yourself up a notch. You're going to attract more light-filled things and less of the chaotic things on that lower level, which includes a situation like the one that you were just in. It really is that simple. It really is that simple. That's why Karen called the book Simple Light. Because in what most people will tell you, the greatest depth of learning in Kabbalah, called the 10 luminous emanations of the tree of life, the first verse, the pure, simple light. Light is very simple. It just shines. That's it. You and I can be up and down, happy, sad, all the rest of it. The light is just pure shining and illumination. That's why we call it simple light. So the more we will hold in our mind the thought of creation, I already have 100% fulfillment. My job is just to live into it so I can experience it in this physical material world. That's it. That's it. So let's stop choosing chaos. Start choosing more and more harmony, order, peace, and love. Living like the Creator, living the way the Creator wants us to live, and living the way the Creator thought us into being. Because the thought of creation is love, kindness, compassion, unity, peace, and harmony. God bless. Thank you. Thank you. So now, as we always do, let me post it here. Well, most of you know, the most important mission of the center is literally just to spread these books. Now, for those of you who are new, the book looks like a book. And our knee-jerk response to a book is, I have to be able to read it and understand it. So, like I often say, I wish we could have formed this into something that looks like a crystal, right? Because if it looked like a crystal, you wouldn't just go, it's just a rock. People know now, rocks have all kinds of different vibration. Sapphire, in fact, would you rather have a pearl or a diamond? You got to be careful. I don't know who I'm talking to in that way. But most people say in simple terms, a diamond, worth more, right? But they're both rocks. So what's the difference between one or the other? Oh, we perceive. So the Kabbalists teach us, as we're about to do our meditation, right, on one of the 72 names of God, that the Hebrew letters just shine light. That's all they are. They're like photons of the light of the Creator. So this book, which is written in Aramaic, just shines the light of the Creator. And that's why we printed it small. You can keep it in your pocket or purse. But ultimately, when there's enough books of the Zohar which just radiate the light of the Creator, darkness will go away. And when darkness goes away, you and me and everybody else on earth, when they're about to do something reactive, are going to suddenly see in their own eyes the result of it. And they're going to see if they do something reactive, smack, they're going to get it right back them. But if they do something kind and compassionate, they're going to get that right back. Happiness, joy, prosperity, love, protection, all the good stuff. Which are we going to choose? If it were that clear, we would all choose the light. Meanwhile, it's not quite that clear because there are clouds of darkness. So the mission of the center for over actually 2,000 years, but technically for the last 100 years, spread these books of the Zohar all around the world and bring peace and harmony just by taking away the darkness between people. Why are there wars in the world, conflicts? Because there's darkness between people. Each side doesn't see the light of the soul of the other and doesn't see that they're interconnected. It's like a person cutting off their own hand. Oh, they didn't realize it was connected to themselves. Every human being is interconnected with everybody else. So it's stupidity and foolishness to harm anybody else. You may not see right away that they're harming themselves, but in the end of the story, they're harming themselves. So this is our greatest mission. Unfortunately, we don't have enough resources yet to complete our mission, and this is why we take these few moments now to bless our offering. So it's a free will offering, whatever you would like to give and help and support. And those of you online, let me put the link there. It's just that simple. So that we can spread it. Because with enough light, you get rid of, for you and me right now, you get rid of the angel of death, then there's no more chaos. No thievery, no murder, no anger, no revenge, no nothing. Because there's only one source. We go back to the story we said in the Garden of Eden. Who was the adversary of Adam and Eve? Were they adversaries of each other? No, they were on the same team. Their only adversary, their only opponent was that, whatever you want to call it, the Nachash, just so you'll know the Kabbalistic term, that opponent. And it hasn't changed in all these years, millennium. It's still that negative thought in our head, the opponent. It's not anybody else. Yes, other people will present as challenges, but like we said today, to let us exercise our spiritual muscles. So those of you here, those of you online, just hold, because money is a vessel, so just hold it in your hands for the moment and just feel it. Because what you send out in the world comes back. So just fill it with love, gratitude, and kindness. Gratitude for all your blessings. Gratitude for all the good in your life. And as you look back in hindsight for this moment, and you see that challenge gave you direction, gave you strength, gave you clarity, made you stronger in one way or another, even to have gratitude for challenges. And inject into this gift that you're offering now love, gratitude, appreciation, and a heartfelt beam of light that'll go out through the projects of the center, teaching this wisdom and spreading the Zohar, to touch the heart and soul of 8 billion people, which is the light of the Creator, and activate it to such a level that everybody will immediately see the truth, see the reality of their own actions come back to them, not other people's. And therefore, they will all act with greater love, kindness, and compassion towards all human beings. And peace will control and be the reigning force on earth. And we know that means what we send out into the world comes back to us. And so it will come back to us many, many times over. And together we say, Amen. For those of you here, those of you online, this is it's one of what's called the 72 names of God, which are 3 nanoparticles of light, as the Rav and Karen called it. And again, those of you in the room, you see here this chart, those are all 72. They're just, if you will, function buttons for our soul. Eyes are the window to the soul. These Hebrew Aramaic letters are the DNA of our soul, of every soul. Doesn't matter, Jew, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, atheist, whatever. Our soul is the same material made up of Hebrew letters. Like every soul, every physical being is made up of A, T, C, and G, just in different combinations, right? Our DNA. So just let the shapes, in this case it's Mem, Yud, Chaf are the names. So let the shapes just be engraved in your mind's eye for the moment. Mem, Yud, Chaf. This combination of energies allow us to reveal the concealed. The light that's hiding that we have yet to reveal of our 100%, we want to bring it out into manifestation, revelation, that it will bring us blessings, manifest blessings, guidance, peace, protection, love, prosperity, the right choices, calmness, happiness, all the good. So just let it be, let the shapes reach in, Mem, Yud, Chaf. Okay, if I can ask you just sitting comfortably in your seat, hands comfortably on your lap. Just take a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Allow yourself to relax. Relax into this spiritual embrace of the light, this infinite light that's all around us. But we want to consciously connect with it, wrap ourselves in it, experience its warmth, its vibration of true peace, unconditional love, and this true sense of unity and oneness of the souls of all humanity. Relaxing, letting go of whatever tension, stress, unlight-like thoughts you've held up to this moment. Just set it all aside for a moment. Focus on your breath. Focus on the light and this sense of love, peace, and unity. And now together we'll envision the Mem Yud Chaf just above your head. A beam of light shining from the endless world, activating, coming through these 3 nanoparticles, Mem Yud Chaf. See them glowing with this pure white light from the endless, vibrating with the power of the light that in this combination is revealing the concealed. Think of a question, think of a situation in your life that you're a little confused, it's a little chaotic, it's a bit challenging, that you would like some clarity about. Remind yourself that the light has the answer. Your soul knows exactly the solution to that situation. And now let's draw the Mem Yud Chaf, shining bright light, vibrating this unconditional love. Bring it through the top of your head. Let it settle for a moment in your brain, in your mind. Keep that question about that situation. Ask it, and then listen for the answer that comes out of this name, Mem Yud Chaf. And at the same time, allowing the energy of Mem Yud Chaf, revealing all the concealed light that's been hidden inside you. Let the Mem Yud Chaf spread from head to toe. All the while, keeping your mind open to an answer, inspiration, guidance from your soul, the solution to that situation. Let the Mem Yud Chaf also be seated in your heart and soul. So that your heart is more open and the light of your heart more able to express itself, support you with the mind, the solution in your soul's mind to this challenge, situation. Ask for an answer, surrendering to the answer. Be truly open to hear the solution to that situation from your heart, from your soul, from the voice of your soul in your brain. Mem Yud Chaf. And now, keeping in mind the main principle of life, love your neighbor as yourself. Let's take a beam of light, this Mem Yud Chaf, and shine it out from our heart and soul, out to the heart and soul of all 8 billion people on the planet. Awakening the light in their heart, their soul, their mind, to also hear and be guided by the voice, the energy of their light in their soul, the true oneness, unity, and peace that is this thought of creation. Notice the expansion of your personal vibration of love, awareness, how the voice of your soul got a little louder because you're shining it out into the world. Remember this feeling, this vision of the world at peace. Every human being acting with love, kindness, and compassion towards each other. That we can keep this vision, this vibration with us from this moment forward, supporting us through our own process, through the challenges we face to stay more stable with the light, more connected with the light, and more expressive of the light. Remember what you heard, what you felt, what you saw. And together we take one more deep breath to anchor it inside of us. You'll stay with us forever. And as you exhale, slowly opening your eyes. Those of you here, thank you. Those of you online, great to have you. Meanwhile, have a great day, a great week, and lots of light, love, and blessings.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.